Hi, everybody. This is Robin, and thank you for coming to my recorded teacher training for this 2023-24 year. I know everybody's very busy and that scheduling times to get together is difficult, but I wanted to tell you that I appreciate your time that you give to the other families and children at UUCW. You make the program happen, and I appreciate so much your time and your dedication to us at UUCW and to the children. So without further ado, I am going to share my screen and go through a PowerPoint presentation with you. This is recorded, so you can always go back and look through things that I may have gone over too quickly, but I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page as far as what we're offering this year to the kids, reminders about the UU principles and sources, about safety, and about the wonderful things that we'll offer here. And please always know that if you have any questions, I am available by text, by phone, by email, or you can see me on Sundays. So I am going to share my screen, and hopefully I will get to the right place. And yes, I think I did it. Okay, so welcome to the Religious Exploration 2023 PowerPoint that I made. Now, I'm not a hugely technical person, but I made this PowerPoint and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for being one of our lead teachers or advisors for the youth group or facilitators for any of the other programming that happens in our church. And at this time, I'd like to light a chalice. And here is my chalice right here. And it's lit. We see this chalice light. Let it symbolize the light within. Let it shine through each of us every day. Let it shine through the way we feel, and in what we do, let the light shine. We know our 7 principles by heart, I'm sure, but just in case, I have them written here. And I have added our 8th principle, which it's now we should call it our 8 principles. And we voted in June during our annual meeting, the 8th principle. And we're very proud that we have done that. And we would like to thank the work of the 8th Principle Task Force in getting this out to us and letting us discuss it and allowing us to vote on this important principle, journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and in our institutions. Also, as far as the principles themselves, number 1 through 7 go, the UUA is undergoing a review of them with members of the congregations all over the world to see if it's time to update any of the wording, add or subtract things. We have a living tradition, which we draw from many sources. This makes us a different type of denomination. We look to mystery and wonder, affirming them in different cultures. We honor the words and deeds of prophetic women and men who challenge us to confront power structures of evil and justice. We look to the wisdom of all the world's religions, which inspire in us our ethical and spiritual life. We look to Jesus, Jewish, Christian teachings, which call us to respond to God's love by loving our neighbors as we do ourselves. We look to humanist teachings, which counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science, and warn us against idolatries of the mind and the spirit. And we look to the spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions, which celebrate the sacred circle of life and instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. And this religious pluralism we're grateful for, because it enables us to deepen our understanding of others and expand our vision. And this is what I feel is the best part of the Unitarian Universalist tradition and our teachings for our children. We have this year for our classes, starting with the youngest, moving to the oldest, we have the child care space for our littlest ones up to pre-K, located in the back of Fellowship Hall. Gladys Maldonado has signed on to be our staff member who is there every Sunday, which is great for littlest ones. We are offering this year Explorers K through 4, a class that will be using the Soul Matters thematic-based curriculum. And with all of these curriculums, just up front, I want to tell you that I've read through all of them. I've written plans for each day that we meet with the kids. So I kind of mash them in with things going on in the world and calendar happenings. So those of you who are teaching the Explorers class, our year's theme is a church-wide theme, and it will focus, the overarching theme will focus on the gifts of our UU faith. And each class opens with the ritual of a chalice lighting and looking inside a gift box, gifts of our faith. And we will uncover the theme of the class, and then there are stories and discussions, movements, and projects meant to engage all types of explorers. And here is a sample lesson of a explorer's lesson plan. And this will be sent to you at least a week ahead of time. If you want it sooner, let me know. It will tell you the date, the theme, which, for instance, September is welcome. October is heritage. The topic of the class, the lead teacher, the assistant. It also gives you a theme angle for the leaders to read ahead of time, you know, what we're trying to accomplish in using this theme with our UU principles. We ask that you set up your class at 9:30 or 9:45 at the latest. You know, assistants can be in at 9:45 if they'd like, just to touch base with the lead teacher, so you can discuss what you want to give to the assistant, how you want them to interact with your lesson plan. You may give them part of it to do, that would be great, or for whatever their comfort level is, you can assign to this assistant teacher. But mainly you have the 2 people in the class in order to help things run smoothly, allow you to accompany a person a child if they need to go to the restroom, etc. There's a gathering at 10:15 to light the chalice. Then you open the gift box, you check in, you do an introduction. That will go something like, our theme this month is the gift of welcome. And this means to us what? You get a talking points on this lesson plan. The next thing you'll do is either read a book or watch a video, and in Fellowship Hall is where K through 4 is happening, so I will have a video queued up for you. After the video, we have some activities to do that have introductory words and directions. There's alternative or additional activities. There's ending words and a closing. And as we extinguish the chalice each week, we have a closing reading. Next is our builders, which is the 5th and 6th grade class. Those of you who are teaching that class need to know a couple of things that are kind of different. You'll be meeting in classroom 3, which is closest to Fellowship Hall. And you will be using Soul Matters theme-based curriculum plus a special community building curriculum for this age group called You, the Creator. So I have really mashed these two things together to make this class very special for this group. We hope it inspires this group to continue together through next year when we do World Religions course. It used to be called Neighboring Faiths, where we go visit other houses of worship around the area. It's called something different next year. It's a new curriculum that I'm excited about. After that, they will be going as a group into coming of age, and then of course the youth group. So this is the spot where we try to keep this age group together and build community. And your lesson plan kind of looks the same at the beginning, with a theme angle given, a chalice lighting. But we have actually the thing that comes before the chalice lighting is a sign-in table. So when the kids enter the classroom, they have this thing that they'll do every time, and it will be to sign in a different way. So on the table, it may say sign in fancy. So they would sign their name in a fancy way. Sign in backwards. They may sign their name backwards. It's kind of like a creative way to engage the group as they first walk in. And this is what this class is all about, is like really focused on you, the creator. Then after the sign in will be the chalice lighting. So I have to switch those two around here. Your check-in, taking attendance, introduction. Every week we ask you to read this introduction if you are doing 5 and 6 builders program. This special class will be based on you as an individual and as a group being okay, let me back up. This special class will be based on you as an individual and as a group being a creator. Every time we meet, we will create things. Why talk about creativity in a UU church? Because creativity is connected to individuality, to spirituality, community, and all religion. This class will allow each of us to experience what that means for you and to go along with our theme of welcome. This month, we will discover blank. That's your introduction every morning, and it should be a reminder of what they're doing there, to be a creative human creating what they want to see in the world. Now, this class has a lot more activities, less reading of stories, activities and discussions. There's always kind of a icebreaker activity. And we have something that's called a non-lecture in this class, which is kind of a discussion that is based on the theme of the day, that is more of an interactive discussion that they can be involved in instead of talked to by the teacher. They have a closing and a closing reading. Our next class is the coming of age, grades 7 and 8. I will be teaching this class, and I'm really super excited about it because we're offering a newer curriculum called Becoming, and I've combined this curriculum with our tried and true series of classes and experiences that we've been using for coming of age for years. And mentors and their teens will journey together and take a look at the 3 Bs: belonging. Where do you come from? Where were your roots? How were you raised? Becoming who you are as an individual, what you believe, what you care about, and beyond. What do you want to do in the future as you journey toward young adulthood? OWL. We'll be offering it next year for our coming of age grads. And if this year we identify a grouping with high enough numbers that hasn't had OWL, we'll try to introduce it in the spring. Youth group, grades 9 through 12, will meet from 6 to 8 p.m. most Sundays. We have weekly meetings, fun stuff, group building, youth service trips, youth conferences, in-reach and outreach activities, and we try to build young UU leaders in this class. Now, going back to teaching your lesson, preparation and timeline. Your lessons will be prepped totally for you. All the supplies, the setup of the classroom, etc. And the lesson plan will be sent to you a week ahead of time. And if you need those earlier, because you're extra long plan ahead person, they're all written, so I can send them to you at any time. So you'd want to read over the lesson right when you get it, so you can contact me as soon as possible with any questions or changes you might like to make. And then on Sunday, you should arrive at 9:30 as a lead teacher, no later than 9:45, and try to get yourself ready and meet your teaching assistant. And you always want to take attendance during the class. And on the attendance board, I ask you if you'd like to leave any notes for me, put it on the clipboard. Managing the classroom. The one thing about being a teacher in the classroom is that you have to be open to any type of thing possibly happening. You don't know your students that well when you first start, so just being prepared can help you a lot. We always have a lot of extra activities in the classroom that you can use in the event that you have a learner that is not quite ready to participate in what you have to offer. Instead of stopping the class and, getting frustrated with somebody who just does not want to do your activity, it's best to maybe get them focused on something else, like a Lego table or, some quiet reading. So, it's really good to give some energy breaks, use humor in your teaching, try to keep your kids moving throughout so they don't get bored. And if your class kind of gets out of hand, a simple technique to regroup a class that is becoming really unfocused or noisy is to teach your class a fun phrase or a song to sing. You can start the phrase, and when they hear it, perhaps they will stop and finish it for you. For instance, if I started clapping and then saying, "This little light of mine," and hopefully the class will refocus and sing, "I'm gonna let it shine." That's my singing debut, by the way. Make sure there's a frequent review of your class covenant, which will get written during the first lesson of this year. And it's, especially when you're moving from different teacher to different teacher, you want the class to know that you understand what they have written and the promises they have decided that should be in place in order for them to be happy in their classroom environment. Most children want to behave well and want to be rewarded for good behavior. And don't assume that a child is being disruptive just because they want to be a disruptive kid. It's usually because they need a little help, a little direction, or a little encouragement. Myself and our RE team and Erin are always here to support you with any issues you may run across in class. So please always feel free to talk to us. And it's hard to talk on a Sunday sometimes, so make sure if you have any issues that you'd like to talk about, that you try to make an arrangement to maybe talk on Monday or talk ahead of time. Inclusivity. Okay, I did have 2 cups of coffee this morning, but you know. So just as each of you are different and coming into this space from different places and ways of feeling and different things happening in your lives and different learning styles, so are our classrooms populated every Sunday. So there'll be kids from all different spectrums in your class. There'll be the child who runs up and hugs you because they're so excited to be there. And there'll be a child who is very anxious because they just left their parent in the sanctuary and they're nervous. There could be a child who has, you know, a learning issue or a behavioral issue. There could be a child who's questioning their gender, a child who is grieving from a divorce or death in the family. There are just so many different things that could be happening with the children. The best thing is don't make an assumption, but try to teach from a stance of radical hospitality, imagining if every type of situation that you can think of may be sitting in your classroom, and preparing yourself for that ahead of time. There will be different learners and different behaviors. There'll be happy kids, sleepy kids, fidgety kids, angry kids, sad kids, but they all have gifts to share with us. So for me, my spiritual practice is to find those gifts and try to highlight them. And that's challenging sometimes. And just do your best to prepare. But the most important thing you can do here in this church, in these classrooms, with our precious children, is to listen, to love, and to respect. And modeling those behaviors to our children is such a good thing, because it teaches them to maybe bring that same type of inclusivity and love out into the world. Cheryl Lachey, Reverend Cheryl Lachey wrote us this great little tutorial on cultural tourism. I don't want to read everything to you, but the main gist of this, if you would like to go read back on it, is to be careful when you're exploring and learning about traditions and worship and celebrations and cultural things that are not your own. We do, you noticed in our sources, we do take wisdom from different religions, from different cultures, and try to allow our children to get familiar with them, to provide openness and understanding, and you know, making them feel curious about what goes on in our big world. The challenge is, though, to avoid cultural appropriation while teaching and learning about these other religions. And it's a common pitfall for us, especially as UUs, because we do teach these things on a regular basis, and it's unintentional, but we could unintentionally appropriate a cultural thing which is not ours to do. Out of naivety. We know better now as a association not to do this. We need to remind people that if you're teaching about Native Americans and teaching about, say, a dance that Native Americans may do, unless you are said Native American, do not lead your class in a powwow dance. Okay, that's appropriating their culture. You could show a video given by a Native American. You could read a book written by a Native American. You could describe it as best you know it. And this is how to know if something in your lesson you read and you may want to be concerned about cultural appropriation. We are all guests in other people's cultures unless it's our own, so we have to take care and be respectful. Safety and safe church. Our Safe Church requirements are that all volunteers working with children are Cory checked. I've tried to get Cory checks out to all of you. If you have not received it or done it yet, please look for the email, and or outside of my office, there's a little mailbox, and you can grab a Cory check form and fill it out. It's really important that your social security number is now 6 digits. I can't process them if they're only 4 digits on the Cory check. We also prefer to have 2 adults in a room with children at all time, or an adult and an assistant. If for some reason something happens and there's only 1 adult in the room, we need to make sure there's an adult in an adjacent room, and the door is ajar. So if you need any help or support, you've got that. Confidentiality reporting. If something concerns you involving a child in your classroom and their safety, or that maybe harm has been done to them, or they are about to harm somebody else, even if you're a mandated reporter in your own private life, you are not being asked to do that mandated reporting. You are asked to be, to be pulling me or Aaron into the mix, because we are mandated reporters at this church. So please contact us, even if it's something minor and you just want to run it by us, and leave it to us to deal with the situation. Fire evacuation. Remember, we're taking attendance every day. It's so we can keep track of it, of people in our building mainly. And it's because if we have an evacuation, you need to take this clipboard with you and your children and go to the nearest safest exit and go to the Bancroft parking lot. Make sure you have all your kids when you're in that parking lot, because the parents will come to their kids' classroom to retrieve them. Lockdowns. Every class will have a walkie-talkie in it. If there is an emergency, you will be instructed what to do. If there is a fire, we'll ask you to take your clipboards and leave into Bancroft. If there is a lockdown, there may be different situations that we ask you to observe. One of the most common one would be to lower the shades in your classroom and move away from the windows and stay put for further instructions. And first aid, blood kits and hand sanitizer and other first aid items are in each classroom. Guess what? That's it. Thank you for all you do. And I appreciate your time. I'm going to stop share here and say that I hope you have a wonderful year teaching. I am proud to have you on my team, and I look forward to the joy that you will experience with these kids. Thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or evening.